Hello and welcome to a brand new, hot and ready, fresh off the press, corn-fed review. Today we will be reviewing The Wild Robot. I have been excited for this movie since the moment I saw the trailers. I did cry during that trailer, but from that trailer alone, it grabbed me by the heartstrings and I was all in, super excited to watch this movie. I don't know if you noticed, but there were a lot of good movies coming out, including Megalopolis, Francis Ford Coppola's first movie in like 20 years, but I was more interested in watching The Wild Robot. And man, oh man, am I here to tell you that I am so happy that I made that decision. Before we get into the juice and the ribs and the bones of this movie, allow me to get off a couple things. Number one, do not like this video. Please allow me to earn that. If you enjoyed this review, at the end, throw a like, subscribe if you're crazy. If you're absolutely bonkers, throw a subscribe. If you are a film lover like me, you love things like the posters and the fun facts, go ahead and stay to the end. I'm going to be throwing some fun facts your way and showing you some of the cool IMAX posters and the foreign posters, so stick around if you're interested in that kind of stuff. But without further ado, first let me give you a kiss. Now let's get into this. The Wild Robot came out this year and was directed by the one and only Chris Sanders, who directed some of your favorite childhood movies. The Croods, Lilo and Stitch, and How to Train Your Dragon. This guy has an insane resume. This movie stars Lupita Nyong'o as Roz, Pedro Pascal as Fink, and Kit Connor as Bright Bill. As far as the voice acting choices and the voice acting itself, all super solid, great picks. It never felt out of place. I never was like second guessing whether I believe these characters or not, or if they're overdoing it or underdoing it. I think they did great. Lupita did great as Roz. A great mix of sounding robotic, but not too robotic, and the transition of being just to more human-like was a great transition, and she did that seamlessly. Kit Connor, again, great as Bright Bill, super believable and just spot on for that choice. Now, Pedro Pascal, this is one of my minor and only gripes with the movie. This could be my weird brain or just me being ignorant and dumb, to be super honest with myself, but Pedro Pascal's Fox sounded and acted dangerously close to Jason Bateman's Nick Wilde in Zootopia. Again, I could just be saying my dumb brain, ooh, Fox, animated Fox, they sound the same. Maybe that's it, but I can't be the only one that thinks they sounded super similar. Their voice inflections, they were both foxes, so maybe they're going for the same vibe, but that was one of my few kind of gripes, is just they sounded so similar to the point where the characters were kind of one and the same. Now, with that character's arc and the direction that character went is completely different, but again, one of my minor gripes, and I don't want to take that away from the movie because that could just be, you know, my own brain kind of associating two animated foxes. I totally get that. And if I never watched Zootopia, I would have zero issue with Pedro Pascal's performance. The story within itself is fairly simple. Robot crash lands into this forest setting, crash lands onto this goose and its eggs, smashes them, kills them all, leaving one duckling, which is a gooseling, that is the runt of the litter. The goose then imprints itself on the robot, Roz, thinking that it's its mother. Now, when the robot crash lands, it is a human assisting robot, so its only motive is to complete tasks. The robot goes around the forest looking for tasks to complete. It can't find anything until it finds itself with this goose, and its task is teaching it how to eat, teaching it how to swim, and teaching it how to fly. And that's our main premise right here. This movie, I can literally see being a staple in kid movies for years and decades to come. It is that essential. It is that staple, in my opinion. This movie had the same impact on me as a 30-year-old man, adult, as Monsters, Inc. did, as Lilo and Stitch did, as How to Train Your Dragon did when I was a younger child. This movie has something for everyone. The kids, the mothers especially, family, grown men like me, y'all. I was sitting in the front row bawling, y'all. I was crying my eyes out with a full popcorn and a nice comfy Diet Coke. I was 30 years old. My shoes were off. My socks were out and I was bawling. And this movie does a great job at really grabbing you by the heart, holding it, looking at it, playing with it, making you laugh and letting it go, and just does it so effortlessly. This movie is literally, you can tell when you watch this movie has so much passion and care and story embedded into it for a wide range of audiences. Of course, it's for the kids, but again, I was a 30-year-old man invested. I was dialed in. The pacing is great. The humor is there. It's hilarious. Like, I just reviewed Transformers 1, and you can see right through that comedy. This movie, again, I've been working with kids for a long time. I know their humor. Let me tell you the two things that kids find hilarious: poop and death. I know it's crazy, but it's true. But you know why? It's because they are the two things that are weird and new to them that they don't understand. So the only way they know how to deal with that is by humor. The best way I can explain this movie is it feels like it was a movie that released in 2010 today, in the best way, because they are not worried about, getting too close to the areas that are a little bit dangerous for kids movies to get close to. The amount of death jokes there are in this movie, but handled really well, is astonishing. And I was laughing, I was dying, and kids love that type of humor. There was a moment where there was a possum, it was a possum mom, and she had 10 kids on her back. And she was talking to the robot saying, being a mother is hard. You know, I have to watch 8 kids, and then you just hear a little possum in the background screaming, and she looks, and she goes, 7 kids. And it's just like, hey, this kid just died right in front of me, but I don't care, it's funny. Parents are gonna find that hilarious. Kids are gonna find that hilarious. Death is funny to humans. It's funny to kids especially, and it's funny to adults. But they are not scared to touch that. They're not scared to go near that in hopes of, or in fear of like being canceled or it being too much. Because they outweigh that with some really, really heavy, emotionally heavy aspects in this movie. In this movie, they get really deep into these things that are so important for a child of that age to learn and get their mind around that they may be dealing with. Fitting in, survival, kindness, being different, feeling left out, feeling like you don't belong. It talks about using your difference or your uniqueness as a strength. A lot of kids nowadays are dealing with a lot of different things, whether it be something like glasses or ADHD or something serious, like someone who's handicapped or deals with a very serious illness or even mental illness. They have these beautiful moments, these quotes that are insanely deep, but still being able to be deep but reach a kid. There's this moment where there's this character who's kind of mentoring the goose, the Bright Bill, and he says, he looks, I'm about to cry, bro. He looks at Bright Bill, bro. No, he's talking to the robot, and they're talking about how Bright Bill might not be able to fly. He's the runt. He's the runt of the litter. His wings are smaller. He's a smaller animal, and they're looking at him, and they're doubting him kind of. And this character goes, Bright Bill was never supposed to make it this far. Holy fuck, bro. He wasn't supposed to make it this far, y'all. He's a runt, but he had tenacity, he had endurance, he had heart, y'all. God damn it, this movie. Fuck. Damn it! He had heart, y'all. So they touch on these things that like it puts the viewer in perspective. Like, you can be different. You were not meant to make it this far. But look at you. Look at all these examples. You can do it. Like, this movie is the epitome of you can do it. And it is so rare for a movie to pull that off without being so in your face about it. Like, you got this, man. Don't always believe in yourself. Like, it's so hard for a movie to do that nowadays, especially a kid's movie, because you have to get into the child's perspective and kind of, it's so hard for an adult, the directors, the writers, the screenplayers, to get down to that level and teach a child a lesson without it being so upfront in your face. They're again, working with kids for so long, you realize that they are so incredibly smart. They pick up on things so quickly. They're so perceptive. And this is a movie that takes a child's mind seriously and lets it run wild and trust them to understand these deep themes, these serious themes. Again, that it's very important for a child to be learning right now. I'm passionate about this because this field is what I'm passionate about. I'm a social worker. Again, they have these key quotes in this movie. talking about, there's a direct quote that says, you can do anything that he can do. Like when they show you that that's possible. And it gets to the point where now Bright Bill's character gets so developed that he's saying that to people who aren't believing in themselves at that moment. It gets crazy deep. There's layers to this movie, y'all. Y'all, there was this one quote, y'all, because it's not, you think it's all about the goose, this little goose who's getting raised, but everybody learns something. Everybody is getting touched in different ways and growing as characters. The fox, the robot, the goose, of course. There's this whole thing about technology versus nature, where the Roz, the robot, has their own character that they have to, develop, their own character that has to grow, right? And there's this quote that says, be more than what you were programmed to be. And that can go deep in so many layers. Yo, when that quote hit, be more than what you were programmed to be, I was sitting in the movie theater, socks off, popcorn in hand, Diet Coke to the left, like just thinking like, God damn. Like, maybe I need to be more than what I was programmed to be. Shit. Let me get up off at this movie. Let me make the, this movie, it has layers. And it's not just for kids. It's for adults, too. I'm learning, bro. I was walking out the theater with a 1,000-mile stare thinking about, I need to do something, man. I need to file those damn taxes, y'all. I need to do something. I need to write that book. You know what I'm saying? They do it in such a masterful way about talking about how kindness is a survival skill. The whole movie, you're in nature where there's predators and there's prey, and they're talking about the fox's main thing is that he's all survival. He's there for survival. They touch on him that he was never shown love, and eventually he's talking about kindness being a survival skill, like how that's important. That's crazy. A few things that I really liked. Again, the humor was solid, man. For a kids movie alone, the humor was on point. Again, talked about Transformers 1, wasn't a fan of that humor at all because it was just so lazy. But in this movie, it's brilliant. It's hilarious. It's funny. The timing's there. The stuff they joke about is hilarious. They talk about, again, death, about messing up, about, it's just such a real humor. Again, they're not treating the audience like you're just, come on, you're a little kid, ha, poopy, poopy. Oh no, he fell on a rock and slipped. No, it's just funny, man. But again, in the best way. I don't want a parent to watch this review and be like, is this okay for my child to watch? When you watch the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The colors are so freaking vibrant. It's so beautiful, y'all. Let me tell you. This movie is 99% set in a forest, and those colors in a forest can get dull really fast. There's not a lot you can play with, right? There's green trees, green bushes, the dirt is brown, there's gray rocks, there's maybe a lake here and there. But their use of colors and making the entire environment look vibrant and in your face, not only with the wild robot, with Roz, where her body lights up depending on her mood or her emotion. It goes from orange to blue to yellow to red. And when you look into her eyes, there's a whole universe behind her eyes. They do so well with the colors, man. When it's nighttime, all the creatures' eyes are gleaming red or yellow. When there's a fire, it's vibrantly purple or red. It just looks, this movie took the source material so seriously. It looks like a child's book. It looks like a children's book. It looks like you were watching a children's book. Like everything is so beautiful, and so the attention to detail is crazy. There's not a lot you can do in a forest setting, but they ran with this and they blew my mind with how beautiful this movie was to look at. Again, I'm gonna compare this to Transformers because it's the last movie I saw. They had the world to play with. Cybertron, robots, blasts, lasers. This movie did more than what that movie did in a forest. That's a lot. That's a lot to say. And I don't mean to bash the movie in order to make this one look better. I'm just comparing. Give me a break. Let me compare. I'm a human. Y'all saw how I just cried? This movie plays with your heart. It plays with your emotion, y'all. I don't know if I'm weak. I don't know if I have something to let out. I don't know if I have to cry. I don't know if I need to see a therapist. I'm not sure. But I was crying in this movie. Anytime that little fucking goose was on the screen, I was crying. He could have burped and I would have, oh my God, so fucking cute. God damn it. Like literally anytime that little guy was on the screen, when he's a baby, I was crying. I couldn't help it, y'all. He was so freaking cute. I'm like, fucking hell, man. God damn it. I had to think of like some fire and some guitars and some beer real quick to recenter myself. It was just so emotionally pulling. I don't know if that's just me, but man, I was a sucker for that goose. Not a lot of cute things work on me, but it got me by the throat. I don't know why. And dude, there was this moment when the robot is building their home, this little igloo out of wood, and the robot is still being kind of robotic and doesn't know human nature too well, so it's putting the big the big piece of logs in shape just so it can effectively complete the task. And the little goose is like picking up 3 little twigs, and he's like, "Can I help?" And the robot's like, "Your helping would be insufficient. It would just get in the way." And he puts the little sticks down and goes, "I'm a little sad, but that's okay." And that, oh my God, that killed me. That destroyed me. That, oh my God, I can't do it. I don't think I'm emotionally ready to watch this movie again. I was surprised at this movie's third act, how amazing it was, how crazy it was. There's robots falling from the sky, there's animals, there's nature versus technology fighting to the death, to the teeth. It was crazy, it was insane, but it was so well done and well executed. The forest is on fire, but it's like a purple fire. It just looks so cool, and it's just so action-packed, and something I wasn't expecting from this movie. But they do a great job of leaving little action sequences throughout the film so that the third act doesn't come out of left field. It's super well done. The sound design is amazing. Just hearing the different leaves crackling, the thunder, the different seasons. Of course, the music, the soundtrack is beautiful. The end credit soundtrack. A lot of the music in the third act. It really invokes emotion and really is that extra push for those emotional scenes. One thing that I loved, and one thing that is always super important to me, not just in kids movies, but in all movies, if you're gonna throw in side characters, do them well. Don't just have a side character to push forward the main character's plot point. All the characters in this movie, the possum mother, the eagle that teaches Brightbill how to fly. It's either an eagle or a hawk, I don't know, but teaches how to fly. The bear, the little gopher that's working on a tree. Each of these characters had their own unique personalities, their own humor, their own even little mini arcs that they all got through. And it never felt rushed. It never felt forced. It never felt like they were just kind of there to push Brightbill forward, Brightbill and the gang forward. They all kind of were cohesively part of this story, cohesively part of the plot, and cohesively part of the objective. One thing that I really liked is that all of these characters have their own individual character arcs, but overall, these character arcs kind of infuse into all being a part of this one main objective that they're all trying to go through, that each of these sides have a part to play in. Each of these characters' arcs and obstacles all coincided so beautifully to work together to meet this kind of end goal, to cohesively go into this plot's directive and objective of saving the forest and working together. So great. All in all, this movie is so cute. It's an all-around great kids movie, a great family movie. It's a perfect mom movie. I could totally see this being a traditional yearly Mother's Day watch. So many lessons expertly embedded, stunning visuals, engaging sound design, a wide variety of unique and special characters, emotionally heavy about things that matter, great, creative, funny humor, steady pacing. I was never bored, like, okay, all right, come on, let's move on, or like, I just never found myself bored, with a great closing and ending. This is the staple movie of your child's childhood. This is their Monsters, Inc. or their Toy Story. It's really that good. This movie is expertly crafted, so well done, and the way I can really tell if a kids movie is a great movie is if I can enjoy it. It's not just for the kids. It has something for everyone, a lesson to be learned from all audiences. This movie has so much heart. I care deeply about each of these characters, side or main. I was deeply invested in watching them grow as characters and complete what they needed to complete and pass these boundaries that they were faced with. I'm not kidding. At the surface, this looks like just a kids movie maybe, but this seriously has a contender for movie of the year for me. It was that good. I am pleased to say that my final ranking for this movie is a 10 out of 10. What did you think of this movie? Did you watch it? Am I overhyping it? Did you enjoy it? Are there any gripes that you have with the movie or with my critique? Please let me know in the comments. I want to shout out Alpha Ghost-SP1 and Time Frost for leaving a comment on my last Transformers review and actually having a conversation about movies with me. They didn't super agree with my opinion, but we were able to have a respectful conversation about what we agreed and what we disagreed upon, my gripes with the movie, our personal opinions on the movie, and that's literally why I started this channel. I love movies so much. I love talking about movies. I love discussing movies, so I generally appreciate you guys commenting on my videos, whether it be to critique my review, to critique the movie. That's why I started this thing, to have conversations with people about movies. So thank you to those two who commented on my last video. Did you enjoy my review? Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy these reviews. My next review will be Megalopolis, which will be dropping within the next day or two. But now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, some awesome trivia and some really cool movie posters. Did you know that according to author Peter Brown, the inspiration for the Wild Robot came from a sketch he did of a robot in a tree? He then asked the question, what would an intelligent robot do in the wilderness? Did you know that this is Lupita Nyong'o's first time voice acting in a feature-length film that's fully animated? Did you know that Thunderbolt the Falcon was not in the original novel? Did you know that the robot's name is Rosum, shortened to Roz? The author of the book the movie is based on, Peter Brown, has written that this is a nod to the 1920 science fiction stage play Rosum's Universal Robots. Written by Czech writer Karel Čapek. Čapek and his brother Joseph introduced the word robot into the English language and into science fiction. That's pretty cool. The word is drawn from the Slavic root robot, meaning labor. The play was also the first use of the word to denote a mechanical humanoid. Crazy stuff, y'all. And last, this is my favorite trivia. Second feature film released in September to have Catherine O'Hara that involves someone punting a baby. The first was Beetlejuice. Now enjoy some really cool The Wild Robot movie posters.
Robot Jones.